Blizzard needs to do something fast, or Diablo 4 is just absolutely done, okay? It needs some serious saving.
You have definitive plans to grow? Are you enjoying the 1K viewer level? If you're asking me if I would enjoy
That's
having
evil,
more
dude.
viewers than I have now, as a content creator, it doesn't matter what my number is, the answer will always be yes. I definitely think that D4 is good for a while. By Season 3, if the game isn't massively improved, I'm gone. And we will be full-time variety. I have faith, but Sam, I think
smart.
the game will be massively improved by Season 3. You can call it copium or whatever you want. I'm pretty sure they released the game because they were locked into a release date. There was things they still wanted to fix, like resistances, and they need a few seasons to iron it out. So the people that don't have the patience are going to leave, which is a perfectly acceptable opinion to have, by the way.
It's probably true, by the way. They were locked into a date. But that does not excuse the fact that the game got released in the pitiful state that it got released in, though.
And I get it. The game's a little dry right now for me, too. What about D4 expansions if seasons aren't great? I'm going to be honest, if they can't get seasons right, then I don't give a fuck about expansions.
True.
Seasons are a core fundamental of the game. I think they are showing the potential to be pretty good. I don't believe they're currently pretty good. I'm willing to give them time to develop it, and I'm not going to be a rage lord over it, but yeah, I definitely have my concerns. I think it has good bones, and I think there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of things that they can do that are very minor changes that will massively improve the game.
Oh, that's like for sure, you know. Diablo 4 at its core is a decent game. It's just the fact that Blizzard is doing not a single decent thing with it, honestly. Again, Season 1, new upgrades, new things, hearts, right? You know, malignant hearts, put it in there and, you know, wow, cool things. There's only one interesting heart in the game, and that's the Necromancer one that pops your Macabre skills. That's it! That's it! That's the whole expansion. Everything else other than that might as well be another enchantment that just literally says 10% more damage. Because that's literally what it is at the end of the day. It's nothing. Blizzard has all these abilities, all these chances to make interesting things, but instead of that, you know what they're doing? They're making legendary enchantments that increase your attack speed by 10% if you cast a basic skill, and then they have like increase your core skill attack speed if you crit with a core skill. Woo! Wow, that's so interesting. That's absolute wow. How is this not succeeding? Why isn't everyone loving this? I just don't understand it. How is that possible? You have attack speed increases, you have damage increases, and people are not satisfied. Just unbelievable.
Once those get added, we'll see how it flushes out. Like, what changes? I think we can start with having resistances fixed in Season 2 and see what it looks like when resistances are actually in the game. I think that there's still some smoothing out that can happen with the power leveling in terms of 1 to 100. I think in particular the 80 to 100 experience is a bit unenjoyable and repetitive. I think World Tier 5 will help smooth out this graph a little bit.
Disagree. World Tier 5 will literally not fix anything. It's just gonna push the problem further for people who get to that problem, which is an unbelievable minority of the player base. Which means that's not an actual solution. It's not honestly even a band-aid. It's like knocking someone over the head and just hoping they forget what just happened.
Grinding to 50 is actually pretty fun, and then you get to World Tier 3 and you feel a big spike of power, and then 50 to 4 feels like a pretty good grind, and then you get to 4 and you get the Ancestral Gear and you get powered up. But then by the time you're about level 80 in Tier 4, there's not really a lot to do. You feel like you've maxed out. At this point, you're leveling just a level, and you're...
Yes, that is true. Why? Because the idea behind gear currently is absolutely atrocious, that's why. Because you have normal gear, then you have ancestral gear, then you have ancient gear, then you have, well, nothing. And that's the problem. It's like, okay, this is so boring. It's literally the only difference between these gears is the maximum stats that they can acquire. And, well, it's not hard to optimize. The problem is not that we don't have a 4th tier of items, which is presumably the implied solution to this, which it is not, obviously. It's not going to make the game better at all. What solves the gear progression is the idea, the fact that Blizzard actually needs to add interesting stuff on the gear, you know? Adds this, adds that, does this. It can't just be the basic boring crap that we currently have. It needs to be more than that, okay? Currently, everything is extremely... It's ludicrously simple, okay? It's not just simple. It's not just basic. It's ludicrously simple. And that has to go. That has to change. It needs to be more like Path of Exile. You know why no one's complaining about gear in Path of Exile? Because there's so many different ways things happen, and considering we know what resistances do in Path of Exile, that every time you get a gear piece, you know that that's a potential upgrade. Because finding the best gear piece combination is really hard, actually. And that's super late game stuff, honestly. But in Diablo, it's not. It's not. Because of the limited options that gear has, you switch to World Tier 3 at level 50, and you just get your ancient stuff, and congratulations, you're pretty much decked out. And then Ancestral. Same literal thing. And that's boring.
Pushing Nightmare Dungeons, etc. When they add World Tier 5, there will be more experience to be gained from it. They can also use that to remove things like sacred item drops that are happening in World Tier 4. So it's like you go to 5, now you only get Ancestral gear, you get more experience, it's a little bit more challenging. It makes the overarching levels of the world make a little bit more sense. Now, World Tier 5 doesn't solve, like, the overarching issue of having no content in the game.
It doesn't solve anything.
It just adds a little bit of a better graph, a little bit better of a curve to getting to level 100. Then they still need basically the seasons to start being good and to have more content than just the hearts. I think the hearts are cool, but it should have been like one of 3 mechanics in the game. So I think there's a lot of quality of life they're working on. For instance, we're seeing this.
Dude, Bloodspear is actually one-shotting things. That's kind of insane.
The horse. They tweeted out that the horse spacebar is going to blow through barricades now. Stuff like that actually does go a long way. I also think that pushing everyone into the Nightmare Dungeons all of the time is actually fundamentally a bad idea. Like, I think the more and more we focus on Nightmare Dungeons, like increase the density, increase the experience, increase the loot, and then we forget about the fact that the overworld is the newest part of Diablo, and that the overworld itself is actually a significant part of what people do. It makes the experience small. They made this huge game, but then they funnel everyone into the same part of the game. And the dungeons that you do in the Nightmare Dungeons aren't even all of the dungeons in the game. So while they made this big, awesome, cool...
Yeah, this was my complaint all the time, because the reality is, you're stuck doing like 2 or 3 dungeons over and over on repeat. When you cap out what you can do, it's literally the same 3 dungeons. It never changes. Why isn't it literally a different RNG dungeon every single time? Why? Why isn't that the case?
Visually, you know, nice world. They only show you the instanced part of it because that's where they crammed all the rewards. It's not like they can't make the overworld events and stuff have better experience. They absolutely can. So I don't understand why we're not seeing significant buffs to overworld events. I don't understand why we're not seeing significant buffs to the world bosses. Legion events now get a guaranteed legendary. Cool, that's great, but jack that shit up by 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
Helltides is a good example of a cool thing to do in the overworld, I agree. But there's absolutely zero logic to not buffing the absolute fuck out of overworld events. Because at the moment, Nightmare Dungeons are still the best thing in the game. They're still increasing the density, and they're still making them better and better and better. But if what they want us to...
Hey, at the bare minimum, Blizzard stopped nerfing the Nightmare Dungeons for no reason. At least that happened. Imagine you nerf something because people like it and use it that much. And then you're like, how could this happen? Why is the player base unhappy? We nerfed the things that they liked. Why are they dissatisfied? Like, the fact that Blizzard in the first case actually just nerfed things that people liked, not buffed things that people didn't like, just shows how absolutely out of... Not unreasonably out of touch, but how unquestionably, ununderstandably they are out of touch.
To do is the same goddamn dungeon over and over and over again. They're going to drive people away from the game. So for me, I do believe that they should have a much more significant focus on the overworld. That is what makes this game unique compared to the other Diablos. I don't know if forcing people into instances is better for server load or something, but I actually don't really care. Because it doesn't feel like my problem to solve. Yeah, I think world bosses should be harder. They should give more experience. Maybe the lower levels are fine. The higher tier should be...
As a consumer, you should never be like thinking, oh no, I hope they don't overload the servers by doing this. Blizzard, I hope Blizzard can manage all of... I hope their electricity bill doesn't go up. Bruh, if you think like that, you're the problem. You're literally the problem. I don't care. Does Blizzard need to cut off their arms and legs to make the game good? Make the damn game good. I don't care how many unreasonable alien level catastrophe creating problems you need to go through to make things functional and good. Literally not my fucking problem, okay? It's your problem. Stop trying to pretend that I need to care about server load. No, you need to care about that. I need to care about playing the game and it being good. Everything past that, don't even mention it. Oh, the stash tabs are tied to everyone's Do I care? Or are you not gonna fix it? Because I don't care. Fix it.
Buff the way the fuck up, and they should give significant rewards. I actually said that about the world bosses like a month ago. I was saying something they could do is literally have the world bosses be a big dick loot drop of XP, so that way it actually feels like, oh my god, there's a loot boss available, let's go do it.
That would be good also,
like,
yeah.
Do I feel like fucking around with it because I'm bored? No, I want experience.
Actually, probably, yeah. It's like, still, for the time you go do a world boss, it's actually the most efficient thing possible. It's like Helltide, but every 2 minutes, if you could farm them at that speed.
Experience, alright, I'll keep doing the dungeons over and over again. So I think there's immediately obvious, easy ways to improve the flow of the game a little bit with only changing numbers and not having to introduce new content, personally. Yep. I think that there's ways to do it. Whether or not there's issues that I don't see related to that, balancing issues, power leveling issues.
Bruh, again, from the start of this game to this point, there is no other way to play Sorceress than Ice Shards. Okay? Still playing Source. Probably gonna reroll Necromancer and do a blood minion build because of that unique amulet that makes a mini Blood Nova, which is kind of cool. Didn't try that. Probably gonna do that because I'm tired. I'm tired of playing a fucking useless Source. Since the beginning of the game, there has never been an alternative to actually playing Ice Shards. Everything else is just so ridiculously weaker than Ice Shards, there's no point in playing anything else.
Boosting issues, I don't know, but I definitely think there are some ways available to fix some of that. Yeah, I don't think you have to increase the overworld's difficulty in order to buff the rewards. As it stands, no one's doing the overworld farm. Like, people aren't running in a circle in the overworld like it's in Mordo. People don't...
Oh, also something that no one has said. Since this game is easy mode, I hate that there are actual mechanics that can still, like, blatantly one-shot you from mobs. You know, the red guys with 4 arms, that laser thing, charges. All of that should deal 0 damage. Because the game's not fundamentally hard, and the fact that something like that can just happen random in a full screen is stupid. Either make bosses challenging if you want the damage to be dealt to players, or, you know, I don't know, but it's stupid that can one-shot you in a game where you literally never care about anything, okay? If damage doesn't matter, then damage doesn't matter. If it's not challenging, Blizzard. Just nerf the damage the charge things do, nerf that red shit's damage, because it's stupid. I hate the fact that I actually need to pay attention and dodge it, because that's like the only thing in the game that does damage. I don't like it. Either make the game challenging all the time, or make it not challenging ever. Not everything's not challenging, but there's these like 3 completely arbitrary things that can literally almost one-shot you without question, and, well, you're not even gonna notice them if there's many things happening on the screen. That's just bad game design, okay?
Farm the events for XP unless they're AFK with a Necromancer. So I think it's fine to keep the difficulty exactly the same while increasing the rewards. I think that'd be fine. So that at least it's in the conversation of, oh, well, what do you do for experience? Well, I like Tree of Whispers. Like, at least that's a conversation instead of, like, we all know the answer already. Tree of Whispers is a chore. I actually really like doing Tree of Whispers. For me, it's the most fun. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I like Tree of Whispers for some stupid reason. I can't even tell why. I think it's just nice, but the getting, like, those points in the tree when you're gonna finish it is nice, but the rewards are shit. The rewards are just not worth it. Like, the irony is, filling that bar of the tree feels good in my opinion, but claiming the reward from the tree is just horrible. It feels so bad. How is doing the chore more feeling better for some people than actually, like, claiming the reward?
I actually like it the best. But I feel like I'm wasting my time when I do it. I do like it when it lines up with stuff that I have to do anyway for renown. Then it feels really nice. Rewards suck from tree. Yeah, fair enough. But, like,
yep.
I at least like doing it. Which is, I think, another opportunity for a buff.
Dude,
there,
that blood spear is just...
I actually don't believe,
wow.
like, the design of the overworld is actually bad at all. Like, I think that the way the events are spread out, the Hell Tides, the Tree of Whispers, the dungeons everywhere, I actually think, like, it's a really solid bone layout. I think we just get the balance of rewards right. It'll feel pretty good. Wish we can just enjoy it for what it is now. Well, I'm enjoying.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I play it like barely 30 minutes a day, by the way, now at this point. I like do one dungeon and I'm like, okay, that's enough Diablo for probably 2 days. Anyway, that was our boy. In any case, this was Quizzer Sid saying thanks for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.